Now at 11, a wildfire evacuation route cut off when a second blaze breaks out.
And the new plan to try and keep thieves out of Washington County stores.
And the best way to address that is for people to know there's immediate accountability.
Plus, Portland makes its opening offer when it comes to the future of Moda.
It should be a non-negotiable that this team stays here.
What the city is asking for in return for a big investment in the future of the Blazers. Then later,
my heart hurt for her.
How a cat badly burned when a Washington home exploded in fire is now getting a second chance. Our top story at 11, the debate over hundreds of millions in upgrades for the Moda Center and guaranteeing the Trailblazers stick around for decades to come. We're glad you're with us tonight. I'm David Mulco. Just hours ago, the city of Portland sent the draft of what's called a term sheet to the team. That's essentially an opening offer that will frame the first phase of negotiations, showing what the city wants in return for public funding. So here are some of the key points the city is highlighting. First, a 20-year lease and a commitment the team will not relocate the Blazers to another city. Second, a requirement to use union labor for renovations. Third, the team would be responsible for any cost overruns. Fourth, the owners would have to pay $3 million annually in lieu of property taxes. And finally, a requirement for community partnerships and local hiring. Again, a starting point and a framework toward a deal. So what happens next? Some sort of response from the Blazers, presumably, with the city administrator hoping this gesture also convinces the team to share more information about the planned renovation. We should note a deadline about 4 weeks out for the term sheet to be finalized and approved in order to keep negotiations on track and unlock hundreds of millions in state funding. I want to bring in Catherine Cook now because, Catherine, there's also a brand new campaign urging city leaders to push toward a deal, one we should note that would also transform the community.
Yeah, so many people are already on board, David. We're talking small businesses, large businesses, organizations, and more than 40 so far, all rallying public support for renovating the Moda Center. They say how the city responds could have massive implications for its future.
It's called We Are Rip City. The coalition of local businesses and organizations launched Thursday, urging the city to support the Moda Center renovation project. Sport Oregon CEO Jim Etzel, one of several co-chairs, warning, if we miss this window, we will not get another. The growing list of supporters includes real estate companies, the Black Business Association of Oregon, the WNBA, and Moda Health. Dozens of restaurants are also on the list, including those in the Chef's Table group.
Losing the team would be personally really devastating. And then that's, not even talking about how devastating it'd be for our local economy and then just for the reputation of the city.
Chef's Table owner Kurt Huffman believes the city should work with Blazers owner Tom Dundon, not against him.
We don't own the Blazers. He does, right? And we're acting like we have leverage in this situation, and we don't. And then we're acting like all the money we're going to put into this thing is just for him. It's not. 20% is for the Blazers, right? 80% is for the facility that we need to upgrade anyways.
The current proposal would funnel nearly $600 million in total public funding to upgrade and modernize the arena. Oregon lawmakers pledged $365 million as long as Portland puts up at least $120 million. The city has till December to decide on a deal, which would also require buy-in from Multnomah County. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson supports it. Debate around the city's role has been most contentious among some city councilors. For Huffman, it's been frustrating to watch.
I think that the left on the city council doesn't understand how important this team is, to the business community, to the independent business community, to just average people.
Lots of strong opinions. Now, the coalition also launched an online petition. They're asking the public to sign it, urging the City Hall to support Moda Center renovations. David?
Yeah, sounds like this is just the beginning. Thanks, Catherine. You know what? So many outstanding questions. It's a messy process and arguably so much at stake. We'd like to know what you are wondering about when it comes to the future of Moda. Text your question to this number. It's 503-226-5088. We will add it to our growing list as we work to get clarity and hopefully some answers. Let's talk about wildfires now, with new blazes spurring evacuations tonight in north central Oregon. First to Wasco County, where 2 fires have caused trouble in and around Antelope, I should say. The entire town is now under a level 3 go now evacuation order. as that was issued, another fire popped up alongside Highway 293. That's the main evacuation route. Some 5,000 acres have now burned in the area, with a shelter available at Madras Middle School. All right, to the east in Gillum County, new evacuation orders were issued at 7 tonight for those near the Lower Rock Creek fire. A time lapse from the Oregon Hazards Lab showing this one flaring up after dark tonight. The Oregon State Fire Marshal's office has also been called in to help in the county, with this is just one of 5 fires burning. Even further east, there's more. In Umatilla County, evacuation levels have been downgraded. Good news for some areas near the Lower Dry Creek fire south of Milton Freewater. In an update from crews tonight, we learned 5 homes have been destroyed and nearly 7,000 acres burned. A lot to keep track of. Let's bring in Celine Stevens in for Matt tonight, tracking the winds and weather conditions in those areas. Celine.
David, that's right. Yeah, we have actually a wind advisory for the gorge, and Antelope is a part of that wind advisory as well. It's going to continue for a few more hours. But right now, we're taking a live look at our sky camera in the Dalles. 65 degrees over there, 25-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Gusts still getting pretty high, up to 43 miles per hour right now. And so again, the Dalles under that wind advisory right now as well. And so taking a moment to look clearly, we have a couple fires burning. Looking at the smoke forecast, it's really not so bad. We're dealing with mainly light smoke in that region. You can see Antelope right there. And so by early tomorrow morning, you'll see that smoke is expected to intensify to around the moderate range. But again, it's not considered thick smoke at this moment, but pretty light smoke that is expected, of course, to intensify in the next few hours. And so just looking at that wind advisory, there it is, expires at 1 a.m. So in a few hours, because those gusts, again, getting so strong into the 40s, you'll see by tonight 20-mile-per-hour wind speeds, and then it'll die down. But tomorrow, even though it expires by 1 a.m., we're still seeing stronger winds in the Dalles, 30-mile-per-hour winds around 5 p.m. tomorrow and continuing into Saturday. So overall, the winds are really the story. They're getting strong, but they will be dying down just a bit. And as for temperatures, David, we were cool today, but we are warming up. So we'll talk about all that and more in a bit.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Celine. Well, to a live look at the White House now, where President Trump gave a speech tonight criticizing the country's intelligence community and electoral system. Though we should add, despite publishing a slew of documents, the White House showed no proof, none, voter fraud changed the outcome of the 2020 election. In fact, no proof of any widespread voter fraud. At the center of Trump's speech, the assertion that the Chinese government collected 220 million American voter files. That information, which includes who is voting and in what location, is actually public, and it does not include the actual votes themselves. Still, the president called on lawmakers to pass his controversial SAVE Act to require photo ID and proof of citizenship both when registering and when casting a ballot.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard.
Election experts beg to differ. Shortly after the speech, Oregon's top elections official reiterated the state's elections are safe and fair, adding election workers verify people's citizenship before they even get a ballot, and ballots are certified by a team of people.
Every step of the way, we are adding resiliency and strength and reliability to our system. So despite what a desperate president who fears the accountability of the upcoming election says, Oregonians should have confidence in our system, and they should hold government accountable by voting.
Secretary of State Tobias Reed, there, of course, a Democrat. If you would like to read the documents President Trump declassified for yourself, they're now up on the White House website. In an update tonight, authorities say a 13-year-old boy shot multiple times in the St. John's neighborhood should survive. The shooting near North Portland's Roosevelt High was breaking news last night at 11. So far, no one's been arrested. A neighbor described hearing 7 or 8 gunshots.
When I hear that it's a 13-year-old, that really does make me feel like, we need to definitely be banding together as a neighborhood and kind of looking at why, what do we need to do to make this not happen?
Anyone with information here should contact Portland Police. New at 11, another step to crack down on criminals in Washington County. The top prosecutor saying those who shoplift will now go straight to jail, like the Monopoly game, right? Alma McCarty has the update.
In downtown Hillsboro,
I've been here about 2.5 years.
You can't miss the antique store on the corner, filled with, as the name implies, divine treasures of all kinds.
I moved out from the Pearl. I was there about, about 18 years.
Part of the reason for D. Jordan's relocation, rampant retail theft. But even here, it's proven to be a problem.
We're just normal people out here, and we're living off of our profits and stuff, so it does hurt our business.
Given the current challenges, law enforcement leaders announced a new policy. Here's Washington County District Attorney Kevin Barton.
We're asking, and the officers throughout the county are going to implement this policy where the presumption will be when there's a theft case, whether it's misdemeanor or felony, they're going to make an arrest.
Booking suspects in jail instead of issuing a criminal citation. Barton says the county's long been a target for thieves coming in from out of town, with recent numbers showing they make up a majority, 60% of theft cases.
We want to make it really clear, if you come here to commit a crime, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be prosecuted, your car might get towed. Don't come here.
The effort to combat retail theft in downtown Hillsborough and across Washington County isn't new. The DA's office prioritizing this problem since 2022 and issuing millions of dollars in grant funding to retailers and law enforcement agencies. That's how D was able to get these security cameras.
That slowed it down quite a bit. I still have a little bit of shoplifting. Usually if I don't catch it, it's little tiny things.
Whether this latest approach will slow things down even more remains to be seen.
It might be difficult in the long run because it's going to be hard on the jail over time. And usually that's why they cite and release and just let them show up for court.
The DA's office says the policy is already in effect. In Hillsborough, Alma McCarty, KGW News.